my goodwill a little, because the clear difference is the Honourable Trevor Mallard put down a clear question on the order paper. The minister had a significant amount of time to prepare an answer for it. And in the case of the honourable member's supplementary question, it was stretching the primary question. I didn't stop him from asking it. I allowed the Prime Minister to answer it. The member then asked a further supplementary on the basis of the Prime Minister's answer, got a further answer to the question. I believe that there has been a fair balance in that exchange and that final question. But I repeat, for the benefit of members of the opposition, that the point in the Honourable Trevor Mallard's question earlier on today, I think, was a valid point, that where a question is so clear in the way it is put on the order paper, the members of the public can expect an answer to it. Point of order, the Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, you appear to be setting down some reasonably stringent standards for the way in which questions are asked and then answered. I'd ask you, sir, to have a look at the end of proceedings today at the Hansard record, particularly on this question, where in fact the question is about short-term steps to reduce the impact of the international credit crunch on the tourism sector. How we got into this debate on 9 cents an hour increase, or whatever it might have been, inside that question, I think really does stretch the process.
Order. No, I do not need any further assistance on this matter. I don't want to take up further time of the House. Had the Prime Minister not wished to answer the question, he could have made it very clear he believed the question was out of order. The Prime Minister seemed to answer it with some enthusiasm. That entitled the Leader of the Opposition to ask a further question, and I believe that is the way the House should flow in good order. We do not need to get too precious and pedantic on these things, but where questions are laid, repeat what I've said earlier, where questions are laid down clearly, primary questions, members of the public expect an answer. When ministers are answering questions, they can expect the answers they give can be further questioned by members of the opposition. And that brings question time today to a close. And I call on the interrupted debate on the motion for an address in reply.
Motion for an address in reply to His Excellency the Governor-General's speech from the throne and the amendment proposed thereto. The
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I'm very pleased to make a few comments today in support of the address and from the throne to the House. Mr Speaker, I want to start off by calling the House's attention to the amendment on the front page of today's order paper in the name of the Honourable Phil Goff. For those who are uncertain, he is currently the Leader of the Opposition. And if people were to read this amendment, it's not an amendment that says that the opposition has no confidence in the government. That's what oppositions normally do. They move an amendment to express no confidence in the government. But what Mr Goff has moved is an amendment to add some words to the address. Now, I won't go, sir, through the entire block of words that are here, but I would encourage people to read them and see if my interpretation is correct. Because I think what it actually says, where it mentions all these things that should be added, is that it would like the government to fix up the mess left by the Labor government when they left office. That's the effect of Mr Goff's amendment. And I want to ask subsequent Labor speakers if they intend, therefore, to vote for the confidence motion when it's delivered, or if they have the opportunity later in the week. Quite clearly, Labor know that they made an absolute pig's ear of their last few years in government, and they have said in this nice piece of prose on the front page of our order paper that they would like the national government to kindly fix it up, and that, sir, is our intention. It's about 84 days, sir, since the national government came to office, and those have been 84 days that have seen a record of achievement that is very much focused on the prosperity and the well-being of New Zealanders. We come into government, sir, at a very difficult economic time, a time when the whole world is experiencing difficulty, a time when everybody knows a great deal about those difficulties. But we have, sir, not decided to sit behind a sort of a cloud of doom. We have been very, very proactive in getting out there to make sure that we do what is necessary and what is possible to ensure that New Zealanders are able to weather this difficult time as well as possible. And I want to talk to a number of those things today. The first is that we have introduced a stimulus package for the economy that's worth over $9 billion across the next 3 years. That's one of the biggest packages from any government anywhere in the world. And it is designed to ensure that New Zealanders are, as much as possible, insulated from the worst effects of these economic downturns. Sir, the first aspect of that will be most notable to New Zealanders who are fortunate enough to still be in work, we acknowledge that the first thing we did was to ensure that there was a support package for New Zealanders who might be out of work on a temporary basis. But from April this year, there will be a tax cut. There will be another one in 2010 and another one in 2011. That will see more of the dollars that New Zealanders earn in their jobs every day stay in their pockets and give them a great deal more choice. It's notable, sir, too, that even though the government has introduced this big fiscal stimulus package, interest rates have fallen, and that will be making things a little easier for some households. It will also be making things a little easier for some of our businesses. Sir, in this environment, we've also seen a slight drop in our exchange rate, and while we don't want to see a total reduction or an unnecessary reduction in the purchasing power that New Zealanders have with their hard-earned dollars, it does help our exporters, and we're encouraged that the export receipts that we've seen so far are looking very, very good, considering the circumstances. We know that fluctuations in the dollar aren't good, but this is a time of tough trading, and we're encouraged that our exporters are doing what they can to get out into markets and adapting very, very quickly to those difficult circumstances. Sir, last Wednesday, in fact, the Prime Minister unveiled a package of measures for small to medium enterprises in New Zealand. And it was sort of interesting to note that